That unexpected outcome of this episode. So, Tsukii made a face that honestly I never would have thought I would have saw. A man that seems to be so relaxed, or just, someone that plans things and manipulates, the outcome of the match. Someone that is always shown to not have much of an expression on his face, actually shows a look to where he is really worried, stressed, and upset with himself. And in that one moment, when Tsukii is holding his hand, and you see everybody going over to him because they realize something's wrong, and you see how he's thinking in his mind, it's like, my hand's messed up, like, I hope it's not too bad, maybe I can go through the pain, and he's like, what, everything will work out, once rotation happens, Hinata comes up front, and I mean, with him thinking about all these different things going on in his head, it allowed us to see that how much desperation was inside of him at that moment. How desperate he was not to be kind of brought off the court, and also he knew how important he was for the morale of his fellow team. He knew if he was to walk off that court, everybody might have their morale just lower, and he might not be able to, continue to go forward. He might not be able to come back into the match to be able to help them out once again, because the match could be over. This could be the deciding moment of the match. And right now, Tsukii, you have to understand, this man probably blames himself for what is going on right now. He truly probably blames himself because he realizes that he might, after he's done with the infirmary and he comes back, he could possibly see his team Karasuno completely get crushed, and that's it. He walks back and he sees that they've lost, and he realizes if he would have probably been there, maybe things might have been differently. So I kind of feel bad for Tsukii. I really feel bad for him, but this is some really good character development for him. And I mean, I just can't believe this is the same character back from season 1 when I didn't really care anything about him. Like, I didn't give a shit about Tsukii in the first season. Second season, he had some development building up, but I still didn't care much about him until this season. And just seeing how this man shows a face like that to us, the audience, and also to his fellow, members of his team, we get to see that this man, he truly does care. He's not someone that doesn't care about volleyball. He does care about the match. He cares about the outcome. He realizes what this means if he gets brought off the court, which he did. And so this is a very sad and crucial moment for Karasuno. And I mean, right now, it seems to like all the older members of Karasuno, they had the morale boosted because they saw a face of Tsukii that they never saw before. And it shows the emphasis on how much he truly cared about this match. And everybody saw it and realized, holy crap, this is a face this man never shows, but he showed that face. It shows how desperate he was to continue on, and he doesn't want to come back and realize that everything was lost thanks to him being brought off the court. So, very good stuff. Tsukii's character development continues to surpass my expectations every single episode. And I have to say, removing Tsukii off the court is actually a good way to add development for the other, people part of the team, but also letting us see how important Tsukii is for the entirety of Karasuno. No, let's think about this, okay? Like I said, the first and second season, I didn't really care much about Tsukii at all. I mean, the second season, there was some build-up going on, but overall, I still didn't give a shit about him. First season, didn't care. And, if I was looking at first and second season before, watching this season, I would think Tsukii doesn't overall really help that much. I mean, he's a good blocker and all, but he isn't, the best. That's what I thought before, season 3 started airing. Season 3 airs, and we see Tsukii, doing these crazy plays, seeing, it focus on him, and showing us that he is very important. He's able to make these plays that really can actually turn the tide of the battle. And now that this man's got such a big spotlight, and we see that this man's a very crucial part of Karasuno, he now gets removed off the team. For instance, he's not completely removed, but for now, he's not going to be on the court to decide the outcome of the match. And this is such a good way to just spark the anxiety inside of the viewers of the show, or readers if you read the manga, because we all now, after seeing this match, know that Tsukii is crucial. But now that he's been removed, it's kind of back to where we were in Season 1 and Season 2, seeing like, oh, Tsukii's not there, he can't help out. But this time, it's with different emotions. The first and second season, we didn't really care much about Tsukii, if he was on the court or not. But this season, Tsukii not being on the court is actually really bad. So I like the different change of perspective that this series has given me after watching Tsukii, go back and go to the infirmary. That was something I didn't expect this, show to actually do to me. Now, another thing to talk about, let's talk about Tendo. So Tendo as a character, I've already said, he reminds me so much of Hisoka from Hunter x Hunter. I mean, I just love his personality, how he wants to break people. It just, the way he moves about and all that, he just gives that vibe of like, you know, if Hisoka was in a sports series and there was no murder and killing going on, that's kind of how I picture, you know, Hisoka in a series. Tendo is a perfect example. And we get to see how Tendo gets a little bit of a flashback in this episode and see how he has actually constantly been called a monster throughout him growing up and wanting to play volleyball. He wanted to play a volleyball that makes him feel good. He wants to feel good, have these good emotions inside of him while he's playing, but throughout him growing up as a kid, every time he would be on a team or he was going up against someone, you know, his teammates and also people he went up against would call him a monster because what he did was completely unnatural. How he was able to just use intuition and, you know, block any ball that was coming in, but also score points with it. Everybody called him a monster, and you gotta realize, growing up as a kid constantly hearing this, it's probably gonna hurt you. It's probably gonna hurt your feelings, but Tendo continued to push through. You see how, as a person, he continued to push through people calling him these bad things, making fun of him or whatever. He finally pushed through it and found where he wants to be, and one of the first times he realized what he wants to feel was when he was able to read someone's move, block their spike, and when he looks at their face and they look up at him in just anger and rage and, you know, just they're depressed. Tendo likes that. In that moment, when I saw at the end of this episode, when he said he loves seeing that expression on people, them looking up at him and being very sad or upset or angry, he's like, I just love that expression. I'm like, yo, this man is a savage. He loves breaking people. He loves seeing their desperation just crumble before him, and the way he looked at Suga like that at the end, you just see how happy he was just to see that expression. It's kind of like it's his, you know, morale booster. It boosts up his, you know, overall spirit because he gets to see this certain emotion from the enemy team that he wants to see. So, very good stuff. I'm really happy to see Tendo getting more characterization in this episode and seeing what really drove him as a volleyball player throughout his youth. Now, overall, though, this episode of, you know, Haikyuu, it was a very, very interesting episode because of what happened, especially with, you know, Tsukii being kind of thrown out, but also there was a lot of cool plays going on throughout this, you know, episode. So let me know your thoughts in the comments below. You all have a wonderful day or night wherever you live. Please be safe. Chibi out.